Hey, Damien.
Hi, Robert.
How are you getting on with the change project?
Well.
Right. So what have you done so far? Established a sense of urgency.
Yep.
Created a guiding coalition.
Yep.
And now you're ready to?
It's the communication part.
All right.
I'm now ready. I've made my plan, and I'm now ready to communicate with Vivian, one of my team members,
Okay.
and display some pretty top-drawer communication technique, I think, if you will.
Okay.
She's about to come in. I've got a meeting planned with her.
Beautiful.
And I guess we'll see how you do it, really.
Let's get on with it then.
Let's get on with it.
All right. Talk to you later.
Yep. Oh, come on. I just don't have time for this anymore. You really do have to get yourself together. You've got to get it sorted. You've got to get it sorted like yesterday. Sorry, just one of my reports has come in. I've just got this meeting with her to talk about change. Yeah, we'll have to talk about this later. Sure. Yeah, about 12 o'clock, I think. Okay, bye. Hi, Vivian. Good.
Hey, Damien.
Sorry. I've just got to finish this email. Okay. Very important, this change program, and there's a huge amount of work that I've got to do. There we go. So, you got my email where I started to explain to you already exactly what this change program is all about. Now, here we are today. I'm going to basically talk you through what I sent you in the email. I'm going to keep it pretty short and punchy because I know you're one of my top performers and you don't need a huge amount of explanation like some of the other members of the team. But basically, we're merging customer service logistics. Your role is going to be merged into a logistics role, which basically means that afterwards you're going to be doing customer services and logistics, which means that you're going to have to learn an awful lot about logistics in an awfully short period of time. But I know that's not a problem for you because you are so talented that you're just going to pick it up like you always do. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, next point then is that we're then going to do this by improving your customer response time across the board by at least 150% because you're already at 125% mark, and the consistency levels need to go up by 115% as well. And we're going to be doing all this simultaneously in about 30 days because this is the program we need to be going through. Got it?
So, how's it going?
Good. I mean, I've told her.
All right.
She's smart, she's quick.
Great.
She's got it.
Okay. So,
I think we're done.
just let's add a check step in here. Why don't we check and see? Hey, Vivian, how you doing?
Hey, Robert. I'm good, thank you.
All right. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel about the change project and what your role is in this?
1 is low, 10 is high.
1 is low, 10 is high.
About 0.2.
Okay. So, Damien, what can we do differently?
Well, I'm not sure.
Well, have you had a chance to have two-way communication?
What do you mean exactly? I mean,
Okay.
she's quick, she's fast, she understands stuff very quickly. I told her what she needs to do.
So what you wanted to do was sit down with her and have a talk with her and really run through what the project was. And I'm understanding that your goal was to explain what her part was and what she needed to do to get buy-in in the project. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And what you wanted to do was actually discuss with her so she knew what the action step was.
Not sure I really have the time for the discussion part, but I mean, you are the expert, Robert, so...
Well, am I also understanding that your goal is to give her an elevator pitch so she can be excited to be part of this change project?
Yes, I suppose so.
Okay. Well, a couple of things you may want to do would be to give her a chance to talk.
Okay.
Ask her a couple questions. Potentially be available for her when she comes in so that you're off the phone and that you can wait for the email for later.
Okay,
Another idea you may want to roll out would be to ask her how she understands the project and have her spell back to you exactly what she needs to do. Maybe she has a question or two. So Damien, would you like to try it again?
I think I've got a few pointers here.
Okay, so what are you going to do to ensure that you've installed a two-way communication and that she understands what the project's about, what her action steps are, and how she needs to get involved?
Well, I think I've asked some questions, make myself more available, and check in that she's actually understood. I think that'll probably be a good starting place.
Great. You know, it's funny because it sounds like what we just did right now.
Two-way communication.
Two-way communication.
I'll see if I can give it a go.
Okay, so why don't we rewind that one again and we'll play it again.
Okay.
See how you do.
I've got to go. Yep, someone's just come into my office. Hold on. Vivian, hi.
Hey,
Sit down.
Damien.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. And how are you finding this change process?
Well, we weren't expecting it to be entirely plain sailing, but I think considering the magnitude of this change initiative, we're really doing very well. I'm really quite happy with our progress.
Excellent. And how clear are you as to your role in this change process?
Well, we had that initial talk, but it would be really useful if you could give me some more ideas about what you're expecting in phase 2, now that we're so close to the end of phase 1.
Okay. Well, I have come up with a little bit of a plan. And what we are attempting to do here, in a headline sense, is merge customer service and logistics. So that's the headline plan.
Okay.
As you know, obviously at this moment in time, you are in customer service. Now what we're going to be doing is merging your role as a customer service person with the customer service element of the logistics department. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I would like to find out more about what that means in terms of how my role is going to change.
Okay. And how would you like to find out more about that?
I'd like you to tell me.
Okay. Well, there are a couple of elements in logistics which basically mean they're actually very similar to what you're doing right now. And from where I'm sitting, all you really need to do is just familiarise yourselves with the nuts and bolts of the logistics department. Mm-hmm. And that way, I think your customer service knowledge, when blended with some logistics knowledge, will mean that effectively you're doing the same thing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How does that sound to you?
Sounds great. As you know, I've got a really good relationship with Alice in logistics. I'm wondering, do you think that it would be appropriate for me to speak to Alice about this?
I think that might be a really good idea. Now, so are we clear on that first section then?
Yes, thanks. Yep.
Okay, excellent. So the next piece here is that I want you, well, basically as part of this change, we need to be improving our customer response times across the board by 150%.
Piece of cake.
Okay. When you say a piece of cake, I'd love you to be, how do you think you can actually achieve that?
Well, I think with the merging of the two departments, with the extra resources that will be available, with the existing knowledge of the logistics department and how that will sort of be put together with what we know at customer service to create this hybrid, I think the amount of intelligence that we'll have there, the efficiency of scale, the extra resources, I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that. After all, we were intending to improve it by 75% even without the merger.
Superb. Well, you seem to have got that one nailed. That makes my life much easier. And then the final piece here is consistency. We've been having an awful lot of issues, as you know, with our customer service consistency, i.e. we've been all over the place. And also logistics have had the same issue. So we have a new target here that consistency levels must go up by 115%. How do you think you might be able to implement that?
I need to give that some thought, Damien.
Okay. Well, how much time do you think you'll need to get that one,
I could get back to you by the end of this week with some really firm ideas about how I might be able to achieve that.
Excellent. Okay. Well, why don't we let me just go into my Outlook and when do you think next week?
Friday morning.
Okay, hold on.
That'll give me a good week and a half to deal with it.
Good. Friday morning, in the diary. Thank you very much.
So let me just check with you guys right now. Vivian, how do you feel now about the change initiative and what you need to do?
I feel like I'm a part of it.
Okay.
I feel that I'm informed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I'm valued.
Okay.
And I feel that we're both singing from the same hymn sheet here.
Okay. So do you all both see the importance of two-way communication?
I do.
Okay. How about for you?
Well, listening to what Vivian said, it's clearly important. Something I need to practice. And yeah, I think I can probably practice it and make it work.
Some of the things I saw you doing was repeating, empathizing, hearing between the words, rephrasing, summarizing, asking questions for certainty. And one thing I noticed you did really well was being attentive when she arrived and with your body language, just giving the verbal nods that you were listening.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well, thank you.
I think you guys are ready to get it on. And Vivian, just a question. How are you going to report back to your area about this project when you go, now that you've had this meeting?
I'm going to invite them to talk about it. I'm going to tell them what I've been told, and I'm going to ask them what questions they have.
Great. And do you think you'll be able to commit to this project now that you've been able to have this meeting?
I am committed to this project.
Excellent.
Now.
Okay.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
So we think that one-way communication is the fastest and the easiest. Two-way communication is the best return on your investment.